Hey guys, what is going on? With Astralis recently winning the Intel Grand Slam, I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to talk about one of the ways they always stay ahead of the rest of the field and maintain this #1 spot for so long. And it is hard work, but it's adapting and being proactive with the changes you want to make. So this is a B-Execute they've been running. They ran this particular version at the EPL Grand Finals just this last weekend, and you can see it's a B-Execute with the 4 smokes covering the entrances. It forces Oscar away. It's very hard from any support coming into the site, and yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory how this B-Execute worked. However, this execute didn't always look like this. If we rewind to the face at Major, it looked more like this here. And I'm sure you can all tell from this bird's eye view, very, very different. So I'm going to go through exactly what the changes are, talk about how Astralis is always tweaking these executes. They don't just win the Major using this strategy and think, alright, sweet, we're #1. They want to adjust the strategies, improve them, and make it harder for any team to try and come in and anti-strat them, because if you think, alright, I know this execute, if I stand here, I'm not going to get flashed. Oh, hang on, they've tweaked it, they've improved it, they've made it even harder to defend, and now you're actually just blind and they've anticipated exactly where you're going to stand. Now, to understand exactly what's going on here, we need to understand the strat from everyone's POV, know exactly what's going on. So the first part we're going to look at is device, and his role doesn't change between the old iteration of this strat and the new one we saw at EPL, or even IEM Chicago. This newer version was also used. His smoke is just the left side McDonald's. You can see the lineup on your screen right now. Pretty self-explanatory, and as I said, it's just going to smoke the left side of those, what I call McDonald's. I don't know what the rest of you call them, but it's going to smoke off there, and again, cut off those rotations. He decides to lurk in this particular example. Other ones, he will just join up, watch their unders push from the back of the B apps. It's really his choice. This player has the most freedom in this particular strategy. Next up is Zipex. After him, we're going to be covering Glaive. And both of them have pretty similar roles in the strategy, and similar to Device, they're exactly the same between the Major and now what they're running in their current iteration of this strategy. So he's going to be smoking off window. He's going to line himself up with the edge of this piece of cement. He's going to be aiming right in the bottom right-hand corner of that wood there. I'll just pause it and zoom in quickly. If you want to know the lineup, it's just there. Hopefully it's easy to see even if you're on mobile. And again, it's going to be a jump throw, so I recommend some kind of bind. He's going to smoke window. He's going to be doing 2 running jump throw flashes over. You can see those are the ones that actually got Lekra in the previous POV. We saw those nice long ones before he trades, and he's going to be obviously the 3rd player entering onto the site. Next up is Glaive, and his smoke's going to be for the doorway of that marketplace, as well as very similar flashes to Zipex. His lineup, hopefully you guys can get it. It's going to be a little bit more difficult. He's going to find himself back here, just above this marking on the floor, right there. Hopefully you can get it, and he's going to be aiming right there as that stick. Again, I'll pause and zoom in. Hopefully you guys can get it. He's going to let this one fly, and again, he's going to be flashing just in slightly different timings to Zipex. You see flash, he's a little bit afterwards. Or again, he's going to be this 4th player into the site. So his job isn't really to enter or get any of these kills. He's just going to be staying in apartments. You can see actually in this scenario, he's going to be watching backs, because we saw from Device's point of view, he saw Rez jump towards unders. So now we get into the interesting part and the changes Astralis made. And the biggest changes come with Magisk. He's going to be throwing this opening util set to allow him nice and close to the end of the apartment. So you can see he's going to have this smoke to smoke off the windows, and then mollying so no one can really jump up on Van too successfully. He's going to get himself into this position before all those flashes we've seen the previous players throw. He's going to be running out with them and trying to clear sight. So you can see, if we pause it right now, I know you'll love it when I pause, but all these flashes are popping above his head. He's out here, so anyone trying to look at him maybe from the jail area or anywhere on sides, we saw Lekra is blinded right now, and he's going to peek back out. They're going to get flashed, and these flashes are just continually popping above him while he moves around the site. You see Lekra again forced back behind that pillar because of these more and more flashes coming out. And a lot of this all is for Magisk. The next player coming to the site is Dupree. You can see he's not really anywhere close to as far out as Magisk is. So Magisk is going to do his thing. He's going to come out here, and he's going to go down. Last up, we have Dupree. He does change his flashes slightly, but it's nothing the same as what we're going to see from Magisk. So keep Magisk particularly in mind. He's going to be smoking off the right side of these McDonald's. That's the line up there. This one's super easy to throw. Any of you should be able to throw it, and he's just going to bounce the flash off this wall. In this particular example, which Magisk is going to go with, making sure to avoid. He's going to be the support man, make sure to trade these kills when Magisk goes down. Even though Zip decides to take it, he's going to be locking down everything from bench, as you already saw. Very purposeful his positioning here, so anyone trying to do what Dennis is trying to do gets immediately punished. Now, as I said, this particular execute had a very high success rate. We're going to use it again here at the Major in the finals, this time against FaZe. Unfortunately, it's CZ for this example, but it's going to be a good example of the weaknesses this execute potentially had. So again, we're going to see Magisk do his normal util set he always would do, and he's going to come out here onto the back with his CZ. And as things are going on, I want you to see exactly what he does. He runs out through the doorway looking for an entry, looking for some kind of fight. Now, while this is going on, it might seem very difficult for you right now to see where the holes are in this execute, where the flashes could potentially be landing. But if you're playing this particular spot like Nico is, you can see he's not going to get blind. He's going to take out Magisk, and all those flashes are actually popping right above him, getting blocked real good by that pillar right there. So this particular spot was a problem for Astralis. They knew if someone sat here, if they knew this execute was coming in, you could sit here, you could punish Magisk running straight onto this balcony, and basically the point man's gone down. The rest of the players are a little bit behind the flashes. This execute does rely heavily on that entry guy getting a lot of information or creating a lot of space. So you can see now, again, CZs unfortunately makes it not quite as impressive as before, but because Magisk goes down so early, it becomes very difficult for us for Astralis. And Nico has no reason to move at all. He waits till these players start to jump out, and it's going to be a relatively easy cleanup for him and Carrigan overall. So that's one weakness of the strategy. Easy to spot anyone coming out bulk, and you're not flashing that particular position, which is a very common one players could play, and anti-strat if they see this strategy quite often. So what is Astralis' solution to this potential weakness in their execute? Because, as I said, someone would hardly anti-strat that, and the execute would essentially become weakness in the current form we saw at the face and major. Well, Magisk is going to be given a different pathway, so he can no longer be shut down by this position, and an extra flash to potentially punish anyone in some kind of mid-sight position. So we're going to see the exact same util set as before. Again, this is from ESL Pro League, just gone on this past weekend. He's going to back himself down like so, crouched, and he's going to be aiming into the little corner of where those two beams meet. Hopefully you can work it out, and he's going to back himself into this little coffee table there. He's going to be throwing it, and this time straight out the window looking to his left, so that flash he threw pops behind him, and you can see Sticko is completely blind in this scenario. That flash absolutely routed him, trying to play the middle of the site. Again, you could potentially play nice and close, I'm guessing, and use the pillar, but even back there you can see this is definitely popping in the middle of the site and going to punish that player. So as Magisk goes on his merry way, he's going to wrap around the side, come back, and clear quite quickly that spot where Nico would have been. Notice as he's doing that, Dupree is also coming out the doorway now as that second player. So what's Dupree done? He's lining himself up with Magisk. So someone is trying to anti-strat and play his position here. They're almost getting double peaked if they're in the middle of the site. Magisk says, there's no one here, fellas. Where's their B player? Sticko somehow managed to find himself there. He wins that fight. Chris J also managed to rotate in, but they get these next few entries and Oscar is forced away. So you can see the entry path, the timing they've now put themselves together. So the middle of the site where they do avoid most of the flashes is now being double peaked as Magisk wraps back into that site there. So that's their small adjustment for the mid site. Also important to note they've added this one extra flash from Dupree. Pretty much further down short, they're not really flashed by the ones thrown by Glaive and Zipex. This one goes nice and high, it's going to blind anyone there, and as they could potentially kill Magisk because he does go before some of those smokes. And that actually is a very important point. The fact that Magisk does go before these smokes. He's drawing the eyes of the opposition. He's going out with these flashes above his head. He's not going in like when you execute on A where you block off positions the CT might hold from, like stairs or jungle. These smokes are purely popping to isolate the defenders in the B side. Not to help Magisk at all, really. Just allows the rest of the team to come in and clean up. So you can see, look at the economy right now. There's enough money for an AK, but Magisk, his job's to move, get info, and create chaos. So he's been given a Mac 10, obviously a gun you can run and gun with very well. So as he jumps out here, takes these players out, he's blind, everyone's a bit blind right now, but he's trying to get these kills, and he's trying to create space. And you'll notice right now, none of the smokes have popped. He goes down, there's still no smokes popping. You see JW actually isn't here quite quickly because of the setup. No smoke popped here at all. But once these players start coming out, once Glaive starts to come out, once Dupree starts to come out here, these positions, they are now cut off. The smokes are all landed, so there is no help from Crims. And this is the beauty of the strategy and the way they've adapted it. Because if we go back again to face it, you can see in this particular example, Magisk is coming out the doorway. And not only is he exposed to that position we saw Nico right now, he's stopping and he's trying to fight this player. He's not purely creating space like he does in all the other examples I've shown you from the newer rounds and the more recent tournaments. That's a big change as well, the fact that all the chaos Magisk is creating allows his teammates to clean up a lot easier than before, where, again, rewinding this one here, you can see because Magisk tries to stop and fight this particular player around the pillar, it stagnates the whole offense for Astralis. And again, it does allow these rotations in, because if your B player is still alive on the site, the rotations feel a lot more comfortable coming through these smokes as they know they have a player of their own creating chaos. That's a big difference right there. So I've shown you so far how Astralis are constantly tweaking the executes they have or adjusting what they currently have to improve it, make the flashes better, make it more successful, even though it might already be a relatively successful strat. So they're always striving for greatness, which is something that might struggle with if you're at the top spot. And the other thing they'll do is, even though their executes are usually the same, is every now and then they'll just mix it up a little bit so you can't hard anti-strat. As you see right now, Glaive would normally be throwing that smoke, but instead he's just coming out here to entry with Magisk taking a slightly different pathway. So let's say For example, you are Twist, and you've hard anti-strayed the execute that Astralis normally throw. You know that there's that one flashing on the right of your screen, I need to turn from that, and otherwise if I sit in this bottom corner here, I'm going to avoid a lot of the other flashes, and you're going to just take out Magisk, and now the point man's gone, you can see JW's ready to rotate in, and this might make things hard for Astralis. But if you do hard anti-stray like this, they might just throw this little twist at you, no pun intended, where Glaive can come out different timing. You can see he could have definitely traded that. Unfortunately, he does miss when he comes back, but it could have definitely been a trade straight away, and just this one extra point man coming onto the site could have been the difference into this round, even though Glaive does eventually go down in this one. So you can see, staying unpredictable is also an extra little thing Astralis have, and this is something that often is only possible with a lot of experience. As you get some younger players, it might be a little bit more difficult, but still you can see Astralis definitely adapting and always increasing their chances and making what they already have better, which could be a problem for a lot of number one teams. Doesn't seem to be Astralis, and this is one of the biggest reasons I believe they managed to stay at this number one spot for so incredibly long. But that is it for this video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and I'll catch you all in the next video.